But now the rains weep for his halls with no one there to hear. Yes, now the rains weep o'er his halls and not a soul to hear. Good boys!
Bronn and the Hound are personality-wise couldn't be more different, and Bronn is a good time kind of a guy and actually lots of fun to be around, and the Hound barely says a word to most people, but beneath the surface of that, they're very, very similar. They're men who have fought in lots of battles, and they're both men who have surrounded themselves with death. Neither is particularly afraid of it. I don't think either of them cares very much or at all what other people think about them.
One more drink before the war, eh?
The antagonism they show to each other is really is just a function of who their bosses are. The fact that at the end of this scene they agree to sit down and have a drink together is a kind of acknowledgement of not just the fact that they're both on the same side of this fight, but the fact that they're fundamentally very similar people.
Sir Boris, Sir Mandon, stay with my uncle and represent the king on the field of battle.
At that point in the battle, Tyrion sees that there's no choice, you know, and desperate times call for desperate measures. He's the only person who can lead the charge at this point. And Tyrion is not a warrior, but he's brave. It's in some ways a more admirable bravery because he's more afraid in some ways than anyone out there.
There's a very subtle choice that Peter made in that scene, which deviates from the script, which I think was brilliant. When he actually played the moment, Peter says it twice. Once he says it under his breath to himself.
I'll lead the attack.
And you can see the look of shock on his face that he's actually made this decision. And then he says it again.
I'll lead the attack!
And I think that choice is such a smart choice, and that choice is really at the crux of the question, which is Tyrion surprised by his own actions? And he's definitely surprised.
So I think what's really interesting about Tyrion in the season is that you see him kind of emerging from some of that selfishness. You really see him wanting to be a good leader, a good politician, a good high-ranking member of this government. He's not an action hero at all. At the same time, he does have this core of bravery there and a realization that leaders have to step forward. So you might as well go out there and go out fighting.
Those are brave men knocking at our door. Let's go kill them!
Sansa, come here, little dove.
Cersei is having a tough year. And it's interesting because her late husband was a notorious drunk, and she's starting to drink more and more herself. And she's just in a bad place right now. And the one thing that seems to give her any comfort, aside from torturing Tyrion, is drinking.
I think from her point of view, she doesn't really know what Tyrion's plan is. She hasn't got a clue of that. She sees this vast army coming to overwhelm her city, and she knows that if they do that, her fate will be sealed, that there is only one thing going to happen to her and her family, and they will suffer a fairly unpleasant death.
What are you praying for?
For the gods to have mercy on us all.
Oh, on all of us?
Yes, Your Grace.
Even me?
Of course, Your Grace.
Even Joffrey?
Joffrey is my...
Oh, shut up, you little fool.
Sansa's just so perfect in every way, and she's so naive, and at a certain point, the naivete, I think, just wears thin for Cersei, and she's like, this girl has seen enough that at this point she should have a better sense of the way the world really works. And so Cersei has kind of taken it upon herself to educate Sansa, and she kind of delights in shocking Sansa, and I think she takes a kind of perverse pleasure in watching Sansa squirm as she explains the ways of the world to her.
If the city falls, these fine women should be in for a bit of a rape. A precious thing like you will look very, very good. A slice of cake just waiting to be eaten.